BB851, turn right, heading 180. 14 Papa, turn right 245, report localizer established 27.
Good morning to all those that will be waking up in Australia and seeing this video in their subscription feed or maybe even in their recommended. I do hope you enjoy it, and it is quite the contrary to the video published earlier surrounding Qatar Airways and their very own Airbus A380. We move to none other than Australian carrier, that being of Qantas and the world's largest passenger plane, whom you could argue have been much more fond of the aircraft type throughout the duration of this pandemic. The airline has revealed that its first Airbus A380 has finally arrived back into the country after more than 500 days of gathering dust, as it has been best described. There was never necessarily a question surrounding over whether, say, the airline would actually welcome back the aircraft. However, rather than it being an if, it was more of a when. The moment is now, as they prepare to see the type return to the skies with passengers next year. First on the list of things to do is routine maintenance to get familiar with the aircraft once again, while also ensuring that everything is totally up to the standards they would expect. Following this, the A380 will return, not on international flights just yet, but shorter ones to see the crew familiarised with the aircraft. This is a very common practice, but one usually seen strictly with freshly delivered aircraft. Having never in the past there been a pandemic like this that has resulted in aircraft being out of the question for so long, you can honestly almost pretend that these aircraft are now new ones all over again, and we're going through the very same practices we'd see with a newly delivered type. Qantas first removed their A380s at the beginning of the pandemic, as Australia announced the closure of international borders with immediate effect. They slammed right shut. This therefore grounded the Qantas fleet of aircraft, especially their aircraft that were used on international services, which no longer served a purpose at all. You could argue that their smaller A330s and 737s were still utilised on the domestic services when these were operating, but in an international sense, they were rendered useless. The A380s therefore, and also the 787s, all went to be parked up in storage. However, as borders begin to slowly reopen, the airline sees demand once again for the return. The aircraft has returned to the skies, therefore, earlier than first expected, following a surge in these bookings for international flights. The type was initially not actually scheduled back until the end of 2023. That's still 2+ years away, so we can certainly see the boost in confidence for the aircraft with the airline, and hence them bringing it back. At the moment, while Australians in select states are free to leave and come as they please, there's still much more work that needs to be done to ensure that Australia can fully open up and allow students, tourists, and more in and out. In addition to this, more clarity is required in relation to the quarantining requirements, and there's a lot more on top of that. So while, of course, this is a start, there's still a lot more to go, and that simply cannot be ignored. The A380 in question, VH-OQB, flew from Germany through to Australia directly. Now, this is a lengthy flight, as you can probably imagine. For Qantas, overall, this is an exciting period. It's been a very, very bleak 2 years for the carrier, and they're seeing a surge in international bookings, but on top of that, their domestic bookings are also rising to staggering levels. If you have any thoughts, please do not hesitate to let me know down in the comment section below. Thanks once again for the continued support on the channel. Do stay safe, and I will see you next time.